October, what is today, the 8th, and I'm with Julie Hirsch. This is Sarah Armstrong-Jones taping interviewing, and Julie Hirsch's daughter, Nicolette Hirsch. And the last thing we were going to talk about was the mouth, and how can a person who's having trouble being in their body feel their mouth. And you have some things you do, like I've noticed that Dolphin has a pacifier.
Yeah, this is so she knows where her mouth is at. And I used to suck my thumb.
And also, you talked about gum.
I chew gum. Oh, I chewed anything. I chewed paper.
Mm-hmm.
I chewed everything I had. I chewed on. Pencils and chewed on everything. And I had my hand in my mouth all the time.
And that was to help know where your mouth was and to know when it was working and be aware of it?
Yeah, I used to go... I used to play with my mouth all the time, and it used to be annoying. I forgot. I wanted to use, like, when I figured out where words came from. They didn't come from people's hands or their heads or their ears or their eyes. I don't know why I found that out. Because before I didn't look at their mouths, because their mouth, it's...
all those dots moving around.
Yeah, you get really dizzy with the mouth, and the eyes are rolling. Like, people's eyes are monstrous looking.
Mm-hmm.
And if they stay... I like people, how they look in snapshots. And I don't know why in TV it looks... I could see faces. I could see clearly now.
If a speech therapist could have a TV screen pointing at them,
no, yeah,
would it be easier to watch a speach therapist on TV?
I don't know. I used to like the mouth a lot on the TV.
Mm-hmm. But very hard to look at in
real life, because everything's like it's like you know, like I have, it does all kinds of like wiggly things, like gross.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. It doesn't look clear. Like sometimes it's coming at you and going back in and this sideways. And I think there was a video that distorted the face or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, oh yeah, that's how ugly people look all the time on TV. They did it on TV. It was a music video. You know, like it was a music video where the eyes were, and the mouth, like doctor, like you know, like they did something. I said, that's how people look, really ugly, except like it moves faster, that kind of stuff. I don't know, because it was like I wanted to make sounds like other people, because I wanted to be part of the TV people, because there were TV people in like the TV sets, and then there were the TV people that was like going on around you.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes if you did something, then you, like, sometimes you would do something that would affect the TV people around you, or they did something that would affect you, kind of.
Yeah.
So you were like, you had a body, like you were a character.
Mm-hmm.
Like you had a body, like you had a role to play.
Yeah.
And the TV people in the TV set, you don't have a character with a role to play in it. But in the outside TV people, you have like a character that you're stuck playing, whether you want to or not.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of stuff. And if that character's hungry, you're going to feel hungry and that kind of stuff. So you could do like happy things, like if you want to do things like you enjoyed before, you could say you could go there again, that kind of stuff. I personally would have liked to have gone like into the TV people on TV and like go with Indiana Jones and be there, like the little kid that went with him, and they had like fun I like that better. But like it looks like I couldn't get a part there. So anyway, I got a part here where my character's name is Julie, and that's where I begin, and that's where I kind of end, whether I like it or not. So I had to kind of get used to it. And I wanted to talk because then I could control more of what my character did in this like movie I'm playing. So I wanted to talk, and then I had to figure out where our like talking sounds come from, and they were in the direction of people's heads, and then you had to sort of like figure out where they're coming from, whether this thing coming out here or the nose. And at first I thought it was the nose. I don't know why.
Oh, it's very close to the mouth.
Yeah, I thought it had to do with both the nose and the mouth. Like, I don't know. Anyhow, it was the mouth, so I figured out I had to look at the mouth. And for the longest time, I watched TV, because in the TV, you could see more clearly the...
Without it all turning into dots and blurs and lines.
I don't know. The dots were smaller on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's why on the computer screen, I don't know, the computer screen, all the dots are small. I don't know.
There are real small dots on computer screens.
Yeah, don't you see all the dots?
Yeah,
they are
it's
small.
called, there's actually a vocabulary word, and you see it in newspaper pictures.
Uh-huh.
It's called pixelation.
Yeah, they have all the colors, but the dots are small.
Yeah.
Now, real life is like that, but like bigger dots.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you can't tell what the bigger dots are.
And they're way bigger.
Way bigger and all over the place. Like, they're not here, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, on the TV screen, all the dots are moving, but like in one space. And the TV people on the outside of the world, their dots are moving, but they're like moving all over, like here. Like, the dots are following you, like... You know, like right now, like my hand moving, see, like all the dots, you know, like first it just looks like a blur, and then it stays still, and then all the dots kind of like, there's all these dots that kind of disappear like dust, like
Mm-hmm.
sand between your fingers on the beach,
Mm-hmm.
and then all the dots start settling down, and then all of a sudden you see where this begins and the space ends.
So
Like you see all the...
So you need time to settle a vision.
Yeah, you see how you don't see that, Sarah, at all?
Not at all.
Like, you don't see how...
I see, you know how you see your whole hand when it stops?
Yeah, I see my whole hand when it stops. Then you see how it just settles?
I see your whole hand all the time.
But even when it's...
Yes.
Okay, you see...
I don't see a blur at all.
A blur, a color...
Nothing. I just
nothing.
see...
then all the dots coming together.
I don't see it settle. The one thing I can do is I can look at something very closely and everything around it blurs.
Yeah.
And I can look at something
like
far away and it all, and the close-up things blur.
So that's it. So...
But what about
the
the
mouth?
Yeah.
The mouth on TV... The dots are smaller, and they're not like all coming in all over the place. And you could control where it's all coming in, and you could see that that's where like the words are coming from, and like.
So how do you get aware of your own mouth? What kind of things did you do initially to help your mouth be when you first you had to figure out where the sound was coming from, and it was a nose and a mouth, then you figured
I was
mouth.
doing a lot of babbling, so
Mm-hmm.
there was just nonsensical sounds, and if I came and I made a specific sound that sounded like something, I would try to repeat it. Like, what did I do with my mouth? Like b b b, like b b b b b b b b. That's like b, like boy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like. You know, then it was like, how did I do that? That boy sounded like that. But it was also like, oi, oi. You know, like, so it was like Yeah, I would used to go, oi, for boy. Yeah, I know, no boys here. See, oi, see? But I couldn't get, oi. Like, I could do the sound in my throat, oi. But that meant boy before, see?
But to do all that, you had to know. First,
yeah,
you had
but
to
then
know.
I had to know where to get the boy sound. The boy,
and you had to know where in your mouth and your throat it was coming.
So it had to work together, and that is so hard to make it work together to make it like what you want it to be.
So right now with Dolphin, you do things like she has a pacifier
for her mouth.
She does turning off and on eyes and ears. And she does blowing out and movement of words silently with her lips.
Yeah.
And those are all things that hopefully are going to more and more as she gets better at them start colliding.
Yeah, there's going to crash land.
And then
she'll say, like, sometimes she'll split something and say, but I remember Dove didn't move his mouth too much, so he's not, you got to
right. So
put your hand on your mouth, and this is your mouth, and this is what you have to use. Even if you don't make a sound, you just like touch your mouth like this is, and just touch it a lot, like, and then just try to close it, open, and like try to squeeze your finger with your lips. Because sometimes the sound will come out like that by accident, like, and you blow, but you feel it like through your fingers. All the time I did that, because we could do like different things, like see, like more up, and you twist it, but then you just keep blowing. And you're making a sound, and that's your sound, and then you own that sound, like you're making that sound, and you're making it with this and this.
So when you were practicing by yourself as a child,
I had my hands in my mouth all the time.
Yeah, to help.
Oh, this, you put this like this, I forgot. This is to feel your tongue.
So 3 fingers inside.
I did that.
Yeah.
Like, then you try to figure out like what to make like the S sound. You have to push your tongue out. Like that. And puff. But you have to go, put your hand in your mouth, feel your tongue, and then push your tongue out, and then blow. Before I did it, it was crazy because I didn't know what I was doing. But then once you get like, then you do it. Like once you make one sound, you remember, what did I do to make that sound? And then you backtrack and do replay. I did that sound by doing this. And then you do it again. Then you practice it and you say, that's my mouth. And this is when you're like a baby, because remember when you were a baby and you were mouthing a lot? To know your mouth?
Oh, yeah.
You know that?
Yes.
But when our brains got disconnected, we have to go back to mouthing again.
So, yeah, you were talking about brains disconnecting from
like
the body.
So you start mouthing all over again. Like a baby, kind of. And you blow. And sometimes if you make different sounds, if you do different fingers, and then if you make a sound, stop and do it again. See if you could repeat it. and you keep playing, like mouthing, like a baby mouthing.
And if somebody
puff, puff. Oh, and different sounds like. But if you go like this, it changes the sound. And if you do it like this, it's a different sound. And you go, and even if like people don't know what you're doing, just keep on doing it, because like for the longest time, my mom didn't like me with my hands in my mouth all the time. Well, granted, you see, at the same time, I was also smearing my shit on the walls, so it wasn't all together sanitary, but I really didn't care then, because it used to give an extra taste in my mouth, too. It used to wake up my tongue.
So you could put something else on your fingers to put in your mouth.
Yeah, but I used to like that because the taste and the smell used to wake everything up. Like, I know my mom didn't like when I played with my shit, but my shit had like all these smells that used to wake everything up. Oh, because it used to block out everything else. Like my shit used to stink. Mm-hmm. See? So when it stank, like all the visuals took a background and sound took, things took a background. So it was like a slap in the face, kind of like all of a sudden everything's not coming in all at once, just because one thing is stronger than the others.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, but you're going to have problems with this because people really don't like you playing with shit. I did that a long time, and I don't recommend it because I think we could get diseases like this.
But you could use something else equally textural and strong.
So I used to like suck on things like a carrot has ridges on it. Mm-hmm. And then you put the tongue, and like all of a sudden you realize like you could do things with your tongue. Like the ridges on the carrot, you can see where the ridges are. Mm-hmm. And you can like hit it, and it's getting to know your mouth. Yeah. But you know how babies do this all the time? Babies are always mouthing.
Yes.
And that's what they do before they start making sounds. And then don't feel bad if your sounds don't make sense or anything, because like baby sounds don't make sense when they first come out. They're just going. But you see, it's like we have to start over.
Right.
Like
Dolphin learning to use her hands again.
Yeah. And like the body and the brain and the body has to start coordinating together all over again, because it's like we had a stroke or something. I don't know how to explain this.
I think that's an accurate explanation.
Like when you're a baby, you're just getting to know your body. Like your hands are all over the place, and you just keep going like this until you can't. Your hand don't belong to you. It's like all over and all that kind of stuff. And the mouthing, they do that. So then they do that right before they talk, see? Mm-hmm. The mouthing. And then it's like we have to do that all over again. And then you start making the sounds. When you do that, like all of a sudden, if you do it enough, every day, like babies do it every day, you start coordinating, like trying to imitate the sounds around you with it's a weird word, with the Padlet that you have now. Mm-hmm. And even if it doesn't come out the way, like the dolphin, when she says yeah, she go and sometimes she go she almost got that. Or sometimes she just go like she'll just push it out like trying to make it with what you have. Yeah. And you try to imitate like that sound, and then you go. But you might have to do some switching here too, because sometimes you get all caught up in how your mouth feels and then you can't hear. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to coordinate, so switch, do it over. Like you repeat the sounds, repeat like this movement. See, first I tell this to the dolphin, like, see how it feels first. Then you turn off the feeling, like you're just listening, kind of. Like if you're listening, then you might forget what you're doing. So you come and you start bringing your listening. Do the same movements, like you're doing it like repetitive, like 5 times. Then, like you're hearing it part of the time. So now you know that will make the sound, because part of it is like doing, and then the other part is listening. So now you know that even if you're like switching from one to the other, you already know that if you do that one way, it's going to come out a certain way. And then you could do deviations, like if you adjust your finger different ways, so like it sounds different when it's coming out from underneath your hand and down. So you start playing with it, but try to remember, like if you make a sound that you like, that sounds like something that you recognize, try to remember how you did it. And if you don't get it right again, you keep doing it until you get it again. And I know it's not like talking yet, but this is what I tell the dolphin, and I'm telling you that if we try to go for the big picture all at once, we're not going to get nowhere, and we have to start in like the little areas and master little areas until one section. And then when you got one section, you move on to the other section, and then you feel like after a while you don't even realize how far you went. But you have to perfect one little section first. You have to own one sound first. And if you could own one sound where like you did not master it, if you can't repeat it at another time. If you mastered like this sound, where you know that you wake up the next day and you want to do it again, and you can't do it again, you have to like organize all over, then you don't. And then you hit automatically that you know that will make that sound, and you go 10 minutes later, I want to make that sound again, then you've mastered it. If you have to go all over again and hit or miss all over again, then you didn't master it yet. So you have to master one little section before you go to another section. But you got to know your mouth the same way babies do. And you put your hands in your mouth and your feet in your mouth. Like the babies did it. And that's how babies learn how to talk. Because that's how we see them learn how to talk. They do all this. And you see them always, you repeating them. That's why you have to start with the people that are learning how to talk. Not people who already know how to talk, because they forgot how they got there. You have to go with the people that are learning how to talk. So you go baby and see what a baby is doing. Because, it's not like... The dolphin isn't like my nephew, who's one of those lucky people that didn't say a word until they were like 5, and then all of a sudden just spoke in complete sentences like out of the blue. I don't know how he did this. I wish I knew. And it's like wasted talent, because he don't care to talk. I don't know why God punishes people these days like this. It don't make a sense. But speech is almost wasted on this kid. Now that almost never happens. So I think that's even more weird than anything. So you have to do it like the little people learning. Because you see like a 2-month-old or a 3-month-old, where they at. Then you see a 4-month-old or a 5-month-old, where they at. Then you see where a 7-month-old. You see, it's like they're the ones learning how to talk, and that's how they start. So when you see a baby, you go, they got their hands in their mouth, and they got the pacifier in the mouth, and their thumb in the mouth. You see my thumb? My thumb is swollen from 39 years of sucking it, and at night I still suck it, and I had my teeth twisted still, but I didn't care if my teeth were twisted or my thumb got swollen. I like the feel of my mouth. So you get used to your mouth, and you twist it, and you roll your tongue over it, and like a baby, and then you all of a sudden go in little stages, and the little baby starts, the little people start like making more sounds, like, and then they make, and you see them making all kinds of sounds, and then you see them all surprised at the sounds they're making, and then they get so happy that they make it more. Like the dolphin got so happy that she started making more. Like dolphin make a sound there, even if her sounds aren't perfect. It's her sound and she owns it. And she made that sound when she wanted to make that sound. Even if it's not like perfect, see, like stages. Like they told her she won't use her hands ever again, and now she does, because she had to relearn she had to like start all over, get to know her body all over again. And then you see like a 6-month-old. So you're basically starting all over, but you're not playing with your mouth. I see you didn't play with your mouth as much. You have to play with your mouth like a baby plays. And that means we're going to be